You know, Karoline Leavitt, of course, is one of the most disgusting and regrettable actors in this second iteration of the Trump administration. But the depravity really knows no bottom. I was watching sort of with minimal amusement. I guess it was like bring your kid to the press briefing room yesterday at the White House. And Karoline Leavitt took questions from the kids. And even when taking questions from the kids, and I don't even know why I say that, because to be frank, the questions from the kids were better questions, more substantive questions, certainly more salient and relevant questions than what we heard from the new MAGA briefing room that Karoline Leavitt held a few weeks ago. These kids asked relatively good questions. And even to them, Karoline Leavitt lies and distracts and distorts. I'll give you some examples. How many people has Trump fired is the question.
How many people has he fired?
How many people has he fired? Thus far, actually, we have not had anyone fired, with the exception of one individual who did leave their job. But we have a great team here so far. So good.
Yeah. Of course, thousands, tens of thousands have been fired by Trump through his deputized Doge and Elon Musk. That's the true answer. I guess if you pushed her, Karoline Leavitt would go, well, in these first few months, no one from the core White House team has been fired. But the reality is that Donald Trump has overseen one of the greatest mass firings in the federal government that we have seen in decades. These are kids. They are sort of stumbling upon real questions, and the answers they get are bullshit, quite frankly. Here is the next question. What is Trump's religion? She lies here as well.
Remember your question?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it.
What's the president's religion?
What's the president's religion? The president is a Christian, and he believes in Jesus.
That is a lie. We, as you all know, have understood for a decade now that this entire religious persona that Donald Trump has developed was developed solely and specifically to run for office as a Republican. It's that simple. That's all it was. Asked to quote anything from the Bible, he can't. And visibly annoyed when at an event he goes to, the crowd bows its head in prayer, and Trump recently kind of rolling his eyes and looking around annoyed. Every single one of these questions, she is lying or distracting or distorting about. And I've got to give the kids credit. These are actually pretty interesting questions. Next, a kid asks, who's Trump's favorite president other than himself? Which, of course, brilliantly gets right to Trump's egomaniacal narcissism. And Karoline Leavitt even acknowledges it. Yeah, Trump's favorite president is himself.
Nora, go ahead.
Which is Trump's favorite president besides himself?
It's a good question, because it would be probably himself. No, I think that perhaps he would say George Washington. I know he speaks very highly of George Washington, who was, of course, the first president of our great country, and he has his big, beautiful portrait hanging in the Oval Office.
You know, I think Trump's shown himself to be much more of an Andrew Jackson guy, but even the press secretary can't help but acknowledge he is his own favorite president. What is Trump's favorite room in the White House? And this time, the topic of Trump's impossible obsession, unending obsession with gold plating comes forward.
Go ahead, honey.
What is Trump's favorite room in the White House?
Favorite room in the White House? I think his favorite room in the White House is definitely the Oval Office, because it's so beautiful and he has decked it out in gold. It's now MAGA gold in there.
And just a reminder that no matter how much money you have, you often cannot buy class. And Trump's obsession with gold plating everything is unending. Maybe the most substantive question, what is Trump going to do about climate change? A tough question for Karoline Leavitt to answer because Trump doesn't seem to believe in climate change. But let's see what she says.
Yeah.
What is Donald Trump going to do about climate change?
What is Donald Trump going to do about climate change? Well, That is a very good question. The president cares very much about our environment. He says all the time he wants to have the cleanest air, the cleanest water, the cleanest environment.
Is she saying cleanest? That's a weird pronunciation.
For the world. He also cares very much about our energy independence and ensuring that we can keep the lights on in our homes at a very cheap rate. So we want to make energy here in the United States because we do it cleaner and better than everyone.
And of course, the real answer is in that last part. He's not going to do anything about climate change because his big thing is let's burn all the fossil fuels we can because that's America and that's freedom and that is the whole thing. So total confusion in the press briefing room as Karoline Leavitt can't tell the truth to anybody, but we have to keep it in context. And sort of less concerning is that than what happened just nearby the press briefing room in the Oval Office yesterday. And I want to talk about that next. All right. Awesome new sponsor to talk about, Wild Alaskan Company. They do sustainable seafood memberships. I got one of these boxes and it is just phenomenal. The whole point with Wild Alaskan Seafood is that it's 100% wild caught. It's never farmed. It's from sustainably managed fisheries in Alaska, frozen at the peak of freshness, and then delivered to you. They've got 3 curated boxes, the wild salmon box, the wild whitefish box, and the wild combo box. I got a box that had everything beautifully vacuum sealed. The fish comes in pre-portioned fillets. We had crab. We had scallops. I know I should be saying scallops. It's just not for me. I call them scallops, okay? Delicious and sustainable. They have a sustainable supply-driven approach. They get products during the harvest season in a way that doesn't deplete the resources of Alaska's wild fisheries. I encourage you to go to wildalaskan.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman for $35 off your first box. The link is in the description.